Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. I got DanK, and we got our co-host today is Joseph with the greener side.
Hey everybody.
And before we start talking about stories, I just had a nice little thing I mentioned earlier. I forgot to ask Joseph about it, but I was just curious how's it going in the clinic, and mainly I was curious is how about do you have any interesting stories of patients that have come in, and what have you heard?
Yeah, the clinic is going great, and the patients are getting the help that they need. Some of the better stories are there's helping people really understand, what they need as far as strains and how to take care of themselves properly. If they need to get help with learning how to essentially use their medicine, which ones are best for them to use. They get that. They also, some people are also getting help with psoriasis, eczema, and a whole lot of other things that the cannabinoids can help with. It's pretty nice.
Wow, excellent. Yeah, that's. And then you got also have the what they call topical too. You mentioned psoriasis.
Yeah, the topicals are really very good for that. Not only does those not really get you euphorically high in any way,
right.
It just helps on the spot within 5 minutes. Myself, I'm an active person. I fractured my wrist, and depending on how much of the topical I use, I got 2 to 4 hours of relief. So it was very beneficial. It's pretty amazing. Like I've always said, if the general public could have access to the topicals and the Rick Simpson hemp oil, that would be amazing for just the general public.
I know my own, and this is really anecdotal, but I had a scab on my cheek, upper cheek here, that I used to feel every once in a while. It would be kind of scabby, and then it would flake off, and then it would come back again, and I kind of wondered what it was, and kind of worried me a little bit. And a friend of mine gave me some tincture to put on it. I put this tincture on, and it softened it up, and it helped it, but it was still there. And then just less than a week later, another friend gave me some tincture, but this was like Simpson's tincture. I mean, it was really
good,
powerful
really strong
stuff.
That's awesome.
And I put one dose on that, and I couldn't tell you where that thing was.
Yeah, it just kind of disappears.
Yeah, it's gone. I don't know where, and I can't remember exactly where it was. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's some of the other stuff with just using straight Rick Simpson oil. I've seen it just take care of the skin cancer myself. It's crazy.
Wow.
There's also another lady that I know. She has rare type of cancer to where tumors would pop up in random places without any warning or anything. Just wake up one day and you got a tumor, which really is unfortunate. But she had one pop up on her liver, and she had to have half of it taken away. And I took her on as my patient, and within a month and a half of being on the hemp oil, her liver was growing back.
Wow.
So that's yeah. I mean, not only does it help cancer, but it regenerates the cells.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. Well, that's great. I appreciate your helping people like that. And so, the greener side's a good place to go if you need some help with medical marijuana and any aspect of it. To go to the greener side.
Pleased to help everyone.
Yeah, 1601B Oak Street. So, and the hours are.
We're open from 11 to 7 Monday through Friday. And again, we really do enjoy helping people with the knowledge and learning how to essentially find out what is the best strain for them and what is the best strain for their ailments, and then teach them how to grow it, and then they can learn how to turn it into whatever product that they want. So not only do they get to learn the excitement and the knowledge of the plant, but they do essentially take their own health into their own hands, and that's a part of being healthy too, is just being able to have the power to take care of yourself and understand what you're doing.
Definitely. And talk about holistic, it's going to be much more holistic than that, than cannabis.
Yeah,
it's incredible. So anyway, excuse me. We got a bunch of stories here, some good, some bad. This one's kind of humorous. This is out of Newton County, Georgia. The cop busted for selling pot from a squad car.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's incredible. Sheriff's deputy was arrested September 19th after he allegedly sold marijuana to an undercover federal agent from his squad car while in full uniform and wearing his gun.
Yep. State-issued gun.
Yeah. The foolish move got Mathis saddled with the charge of carrying a firearm in the furtherance of a drug trafficking offense, along with being charged for distributing pot. Deputy Darrell Mathis, 40 years old, dealt from his officially marked squad car on a regular basis, and that he sold bud to both a confidential informant and an undercover FBI agent between May and September 2013. Mathis admitted to selling between 10 and 15 pounds of pot every week. You know, that's something he admitted. I mean, you know, he admitted already. Wow.
That's quite a bit of herb to be putting out of your cop car.
Yeah. The criminal complaint alleges Mathis went as far to display his deputy badge and gun at that meeting, telling the undercover agents, "Don't worry, I'm on your side." Little did Mathis know that those he was selling to were not on his side. So anyway, it happens, and you know, the people, you know, the big bucks drawing, and it changes everybody, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty. I was kind of speechless with that one.
Yeah, it is, and let's not forget that the reason that it costs so much is because the black market. It's an artificial price.
Yeah.
It's caused because because of the law. It's harder to get, so therefore it costs more.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's one thing we're looking for, legalization to help lower the cost. In fact, that's why the black market in general, and growers in general, don't want pot legalized because they feel they would lose too much money. And my argument has always been, well, you may lose it in volume, but you'll make it up. You may lose it in dollar per unit, but you'll make it up in volume because it'll be more of a market.
Well, and you'll be able to freely, you know, make your money as a legitimate, you know, farmer if that once it becomes illegal.
And I ask people, I'll say, well, you can grow your own vegetables. So of all the vegetables that you eat, how many of them do you grow?
Yeah, right.
You know, just because you can grow doesn't mean that you have the ability or the skill. I mean, so that's another issue. But anyway, this is an article here. This is out of Florida, and this was I just had to print this up because I thought it was pretty cool. I'm not real big on attorneys, and so when you find a positive story about an attorney, that's something to talk about.
Yeah, the better attorneys that we have out there, the better it is for everyone.
Yeah. It says, a big hitting attorney behind the medical marijuana effort. He said that you might have heard Florida super lawyer John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan is supporting the proposed constitutional amendment with an ad campaign and more. Morgan & Morgan employs 210 staff attorneys and over 1,000 support staff members. 25 years after the firm's inception, For the People continues to be a way of life for John Morgan and the firm. The radio ad starts like all the others. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But after the opening line, the likely most recognizable voice on the Florida airwaves makes a plea instead of offering legal advice. Medical marijuana has been proven to give our loved ones the relief they need, the ad continues. In February, the big-hitting Orlando attorney got behind the petition to get the question of medical marijuana on the ballot, saying it gave his father a better quality of life toward the end of his battle with cancer. He's certainly been our primary funder, says campaign manager Ben Polera of People United, the PAC behind the initiative. He's a man of his word who gets things done. Whenever I have doubts, I call John, and he goes, Ben, we're going to get this done. Done deal? Could be. Political science professor Laura Weir says Morgan's reach can only help. That's going to be a very powerful public interest influence to getting the signatures on the petition, says Weir. He's very respected in Florida. I think, yes, that his state endorsement is going to make a huge difference. So anyway, John Morgan out of Florida, and we salute you and your efforts. Florida definitely could use some common sense. I had a friend who used to live in Tampa, and oh my God, it's a whole different deal. It's like my friend from Alabama. He said it's a whole different country down there.
It's a whole different coastline.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the good news there. And this is and then we come up on a editorial, letter of the editor actually, that was written, came out of the New York Times. This was written by a state senator, and he represents the 36th legislative district, or no, I'm sorry, not in, what did I say, New York? It was in the New York Times, but the writer is, the senator is out of Seattle, Washington, excuse me. The recent editorial calling for federal clarification of marijuana enforcement laws, the marijuana muddle, September 13, is well taken, but not the entire solution. Though federal authorities have an important role in how marijuana sales are regulated and enforced, state and local officials are at least as important. As our state enacts our new recreational marijuana system after voter approval of Initiative 502 last September, we must also clarify our state's regulation of medical cannabis. As one of 20 medical cannabis states, Washington is wrestling with how to ensure that legitimate, authorized patients can safely and reliably access medicine while protecting the public and eliminating the black market in our new recreational marijuana system. We are addressing how to keep recreational users from trying to avoid paying taxes in licensed stores by obtaining marijuana from currently unregulated medical cannabis dispensaries, and making sure we comply with all 8 provisions of the Justice Department's recently released guidelines, including restricting minors from obtaining the product. So, anyway, Washington is wrestling with that issue, and it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. Technically, I like to say, they say Washington's legalized, but technically it's not legalized.
Yeah, it's
because
kind of a fish
it's
of water
only
there.
legal to get it from the state liquor or the state store, and they don't have any state stores yet. So therefore, technically, it's not legal.
It's still illegal to
yeah.
it.
But the cops are backing off, so of course it is a step in the right direction.
Definitely.
So, excuse me. And then we have another case out of, we're running out of time here. I want to start that one. We'll start for the next segment. So anyway, I wanted to talk, let's see, last time we talked about, no, you didn't, that was Eric.
Yeah, you and Eric started
about,
talked about the Hemp Fest, and that's a good example of the cops, supporting the laws
they
there.
handed out Doritos and didn't bother anybody. In fact, a friend of mine told me years ago that the cops actually volunteer for detail that weekend because they know that it's going to be easy duty and they're going to be fed well.
Nice. Yeah, there is always good food.
yeah. So it's quite an event. You're having a chance to attend any of the Hemp Fests, especially the big ones. I would highly recommend it. It's really worth the effort.
Yeah, and there's always the Emerald
and
Empire
then we got our
Hemp
local
Fest
Hemp
here.
Fest, right? The Emerald Empire Hemp Fest. It'll be 18th, 19th, and 20th of 2004, July 2004. So we'll get right back to the second segment. So.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, you don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little, and forget others won't.
Hello, we're back with the second segment of Eugene Cannabis TV. You got Joseph beside me and got DanK here. First thing I wanted to start off with here is a letter from ASA, the Americans for Safe Access, which is, like I was just telling Joseph, in my estimation, I believe they're one of the two top organizations in the marijuana movement. Americans for Safe Access and also the SSDP, Students for Sensible Drug Policy. Anyway, this is from Safe Access, and by the way, this lady that wrote this, Steph Scherer, has been to Eugene twice for workshops. I mean, she's been on the road, flew in, came in for a workshop, and gave out fantastic information, some of which we're still not doing, but she had this great idea. One of the things she brought up, and this was incredible, she said, do you have a call plan, a call list, you know, for our group, for Border Power? We didn't have that. If we'd been busted, we'd been wandering around and know what to do. We couldn't have contacted each other because we didn't have each other's phone number, you know. And it's so simple, and it's something that's really important. But
yeah,
anyway,
let's start for a raid prep.
Yeah, but she brought some great ideas. But anyway, this is a letter from her, and I wanted to read this and hope that people, our listeners and viewers, would take heart into this. She writes, with the internet being the primary source of information for individuals born after 1987, social media is quickly becoming mainstream media. Facebook is now the second most popular website in the United States behind Google. In January alone, Facebook attracted 134 million unique visitors, and Twitter another 23.5 million. People are increasingly turning to these sites as their primary source of news and for sharing information with others. Although there are over 1 million legal medical marijuana patients in the country, only a small handful are aware of the work or resources available to them through ASA. By completing these 5 free steps, you can help spread the news and work that Americans for Safe Access and our allies are doing across the country. So these are 5 things that you can do to support safe access and in turn support patients. Number 1 is subscribe to ACE's blog, Voice from the Front Lines. You can go to their website, americansforsafeaccess.org. Number 2, like us on Facebook. Number 3, follow us on Twitter. Number 4, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has gained access to hundreds of videos from the science behind medical marijuana, training videos on how to be an effective advocate for medical marijuana, and policy discussions with leading experts in their field. And number 5, participate in ACE's Thunderclap. Sign on to ACE's Thunderclap to demand Congress and the war on patients. Once we reach our sign-on goal, Thunderclap will blast out a timed Facebook post or tweet from all our supporters, creating a wave of attention. They also have a reporting system where if a dispensary is busted, you're supposed to report it to them, and then they can it goes into their system. But anyway, they do
this
great
is
work.
Definitely an awesome program and organization, and definitely should support it. And it's a good way for you to get involved and really start to understand what's really going on.
That's right. So that's Americans for Safe Access. And then we've got the Supreme Court. You got that one?
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, this is out of Seattle. The Supreme Court, medical necessity, okay, reason for pot. So people busted for marijuana can argue they needed it for medical reasons, even if they failed to allow the requirements of the state's medical marijuana law, the Washington Supreme Court said Thursday. In a 5-4 opinion held by advocates of patients who use pot, the justices said voters did not get rid of the medical necessity defense when they passed the medical marijuana law in '98. The ruling means that people who don't have the money or insurance to see a doctor to authorize them to use marijuana, or who don't have a doctor in their community who will authorize them to use marijuana, will nevertheless be able to argue in court that they had a medical reason for using it, said Seattle lawyer Suzanne Lee Elliott, who handled the case. Are you familiar with the medical defense?
Yeah, if you, as long as you're...
medical necessity defense, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you have the ailments and...
exactly. In fact, that was the same way it was in Oregon. And
I think it still might be.
Well, it is, and that's where I'm confused. And Lee Berger, who we spoke about earlier in private, Lee Berger actually had it written up, or wrote it up one time, and I don't know, I think I forgot to save it, but he explained it. But we did have the the medical necessity defense, and then we ended up going into the legislature and did some horse trading, and ended up giving up part of that in lieu of having I think it was the amount raised, how much a patient could have, but we didn't really completely give up the medical defense. So I don't really understand. It's like they said we gave it up, but we never really lost it.
Last time I checked into it, I think it was still valid. I mean,
yeah, it's still valid, but it's a little different as I understand it. But anyway, we still have it, but essentially we still have it in this state. So, which is a really neat deal because, in other words, if you can prove that you have the medical malady, then you're free, home free.
Yeah, then it's proved by the courts that you definitely need your medicine, and
exactly,
which all adults should be able to say for themselves what they want to put in their body to help their ailments.
Which is a good deal because when the fee is so expensive, especially like it is in Oregon, a lot of people dropped off of the program because they couldn't afford it, and so where are they going to go? Well, if you're alive, they're going back on the black market, but
they dropped off. They don't want to be on a list.
But our esteemed legislators who can't see past the end of their nose don't care about patients. They double the fees, and like I said, a lot of them, I know a lot of personally that dropped off the program, and they didn't quit using medicine. So
right. They already know that it helps them. They just don't have the money to essentially keep their piece of paper in their pocket.
Exactly. So they're back on the black market, and which is always a continuing problem. I keep hoping the fee will go back down. There's been some talk of trying to force that, but I don't know if we've got enough organizations to do it.
Wasn't there a statute of time that they might have they were going to possibly lower it?
I'm not sure. That could be. But I do know they were making money before they had that last raise, a fee increase. I wanted to use some kind of a good slang word. I can't think of it, but but anyway, they were actually making money before that, and so now, of course, they're making it even more because they double the fees in most cases. And that's quite, personally, I think it's quite despicable when they collect money from patients but they're taking in more than they need to run the program. They should give it back to the patients.
They should give it back to the patients, or they should give it back to put it back into the program. Hire some more people to take care of the cards and make it more appropriate. With the new law, the HB 3460, they're going to be setting up hopefully some essentially rules, and they're going to have to pay for all of those rules and essentially the people to run the program once that new bill is set up. They went over all of that on the rules making committee over there up in Salem this last Friday. And that was a really awesome meeting. That was another good meeting of the minds. I can't personally speak from the past when you guys started putting your footsteps down, but
right. So what did you think of the state? Did they seem to be really
interested? They seemed to be open and wanted to make it work for everyone. It just makes sense for the state to want to make it work for the patients as well as law enforcement. There's no reason for the law enforcement to be completely against it, because for most of the time, if you go ask an officer what their opinion is on it, they'll say, I don't care one way or the other, I just want to know what the ruling is so I can do my job properly. And so if we make it the rule that it's legal, or this is how much you can have, and make it easy for the officers to also understand what is right and what is wrong, and do away with the gray area, then that just puts the patients and the people and the officers in a safer position. They're no longer the patients are no longer fearing going to prison, and the officers aren't, fearing having to go bust a pot field with, possible guns, and, the list goes on. It's just, it just makes common sense.
Yeah, I've said for years, I believe that if you were to talk to the average cop on the street, the ones that are actually doing the work, they don't have a problem with pot. Alcohol and meth is their problems.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. Like I've heard this hand over fist, as most cops say, they'd want to go arrest a pot person, then go and break up a meth fight, or go and break up a domestic drunken dispute. And that's where they actually need to be diverting their attention to help people.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I like to say we need to legalize it so we can put cops to doing what they need to be doing and going after real crime.
Yeah. You know, it's a
Go
good
after
idea.
Go after the people that hurt people, you know. It's like I have this cartoon that I saved years ago, and it shows this woman sitting in her car, and the cop's handing her a ticket, writing a ticket, and she's saying, "When you get done writing that ticket, maybe you could go out and find the person that broke into my apartment last week."
Yeah.
I thought that was put pretty well.
Yeah, and you know, it's I'm sure the police officers are, you know, pretty much over getting all the flack from you know, the general public on, you know, supporting cannabis, you know, but we still have to stand up and, you know, tell each and every one of them that it does help us, and, you know, you're wrong for doing what you're doing to the people that you're trying to protect. You know, you can't
Exactly.
you can't you know, be a wolf in sheep's clothes, you know.
Right. In fact, again, this is another anecdotal thing, but many years ago, when I was a truck driver, I had another driver tell me, he swore me down, it was the truth. He said he was in a motel parking lot at midnight in Bend and shared a joint with an Oregon State Patrol officer in his car.
Well, apparently the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
There's probably more of that going on than we even know about.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and the guy was on the force for, what, 5 years? So I wonder how long he was actually being able to do that. You know?
Yeah, that's amazing. You know,
10 to 15 pounds a week is quite a bit of medicine to be going out of one officer's police squad
I used to
car.
take off hitchhiking with a quarter-pound and go down in California and sell it down there in the truck stop. And I scared my friends to death because I was hitchhiking with a quarter-pound of pot. But I know how to do it, you know. And this guy here seemed to have got a little too
overzealous.
Overzealous. Well, yeah, overzealous, careless. Yeah, I don't know what, but it's amazing. And then apparently the way it sounds like, he fell pretty quick. I mean, he admitted to it. I mean, you know, he says he admitted to selling between 10 and 15 pounds of pot every week. And you think why would you admit that before the process is even?
When you're a police officer, I think you take an oath that you're going to uphold the law.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. So, well, I wish him good luck, I guess. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up, and we appreciate you coming in tonight. And
thanks for having me.
remember the greener side. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you next week.